Welcome to the Superstar Communicator podcast. My name is Susan Heaton-Wright, a leading impact, speaking and communications expert. My aim is to show you how to make an impact so you will be heard, listened to and respected for career success. Listen weekly to the podcast and go to our website, superstarcommunicator.com. Hi everybody, this is Susan Heaton-Wright from Superstar Communicator. We are in the coronavirus, we're all in lockdown, and as you know, I'm supporting you all by sharing some fantastic content from people who are in the moment with us to give their expertise, their support and their knowledge. Today I have an elite improviser, Bob Kulhan from Business Improv, who was the first to create credited programs in top business schools that link improvisation to business. Please tell me more about this, Bob.
Hi, Susan. It's so good to chat with you, and wishing good health to all of your listeners and all of your followers.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I've been linking improvisation to business for the last 21 years. I've been a professional improviser for the last 26 years. However, the last 21, I've been extracting the tenets of improvisation that would otherwise produce comedy and have been redirecting them to business through the behavioral sciences, cognitive psychology, social psychology, org theory, even behavioral economics. So the root of what I do is study how and why we make decisions in real time, and then link it to things like communication, collaboration, influence, adaptive problem solving, crisis management, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, change, leadership, etc. And I've been an adjunct professor at Columbia Business School in New York and Duke Fuqua School of Business most of the last 21 years. So it's a great passion of mine, and it's a great honor to be chatting with you today.
Well, do you know what? I was thinking about when we first spoke, because we connected on LinkedIn, didn't we?
We did, yes.
And we had an amazing conversation, and we really connected on a human level, even though we're thousands of miles away. And I felt that we were singing from the same song sheet, almost.
Yes, definitely. I agree. I think we're cut from the same cloth.
Oh, what an honor. Now,
well, I think you just brought up a really wonderful point, which is we had never met each other, and we connected and just had a phone conversation, and we were able to engage each other, connect with each other, listen to each other, and just in one conversation have a connection with each other. And this is so relevant to this world that we are in and will continue to be in for the foreseeable future, and how we're communicating virtually with each other now.
Absolutely. We have to keep it human, don't we?
Absolutely.
Oh, you see?
When push comes to shove, that's all we have is each other.
It is. But I'm aware that a lot of the work that you've done up until now has been face-to-face. So how are you modifying what you do for your clients to support them?
I, over the last 3 years, have been working to become virtual and become digital. So for me, the writing was already on the wall. Not that there was going to be a horrific global pandemic, of course, just the need to figure out how to work in this space. So for anybody who's trying to figure it out, let's go back to, Susan, what we just mentioned. It's always about the people. It's always about connecting with each other and listening. So the next thing then is really putting that emphasis on the other person. So the similarity to what I do, when I go on site and work with people, it's high energy, it's up on your feet, it's very experiential. I'm teaching people how to use the tenets of business improvisation to connect with each other. And that's really the same thing here. We're focusing on building strong relationships, building trust, cohesion, and whether it's through the medium of a computer or a phone call or face-to-face, it's still the same focus.
That's really interesting. So can you give an example of how you have modified what you do face to face in the virtual on a virtual platform?
Absolutely. So we'll start with the virtual, and if it's okay with you, I'd love to tell you what we did in the digital space as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So the virtual space, the thing that's important is some simple things. Let's go to, my acting background.
Yes.
When you act in front of a camera and you're supposed to look at the camera, you're playing to nobody.
Yeah.
You're not even playing to the person behind the camera. You're looking at a little red dot or a little green dot, and that's where you're supposed to be focusing. And that's similar to using any visual platform, whether it's Skype or FaceTime, WebEx, Adobe Connect, Zoom, which is, I think, the platform du jour. And when you look at that little green dot, it makes the person on the other line feel like you're looking at them. So
Yeah.
the tendency we have is to look at the picture of somebody, or even look at our own picture, as opposed to looking at the person in the camera. And that means it's a little counterintuitive. You shouldn't look at the picture of the person you're talking to. You should look at the little green dot. And that pulls people in as well. That creates a level of engagement, because to be engaged is to be engaging, just like to be interested is to be interesting.
Yeah.
So a way to do that is through eye contact.
Brilliant. And how about some of the work that you are doing now with clients? Have you got any tips for work that you've been doing with people?
Yes, and this actually would be a good bridge to the digital space as well. So a lot of the work that I'm doing with people is taking intact teams and turning them into virtual teams. So teams that have been on site, they work really well together, or potentially they don't work well together as well, and now they're virtual. So really understanding that the virtual environment needs a different set of uh, rules of engagement. It needs a different way to behave, because ultimately we have distractions. I was listening to a podcast of yours earlier where you're saying control your environment. I'm going to paraphrase, of course. Control your environment. Go ahead and even dress up for the occasion, even if you're not on camera, so you get in the right headspace. That's how I interpreted that. If you can keep your significant other from eating crisps next to you while you're on the phone call. And there is an awful lot to that as well. The challenge is that most people, though, are thrust into an environment they cannot control.
Yeah.
So I'm on week 5 of lockdown here in New Jersey. And my wife is here as well. Our children are here. So we have to homeschool now. If your significant other has a job, she or he is trying to work as well. Some people don't have offices even to work in their homes, so they're working at kitchen tables and shared environments. So part of this then is understanding what you can control, which is what you were bringing up, and then what you can't control, and accepting this. So a great phrase in improv is yes and. And a lot of people misinterpret yes and to be agreement. I'm agreeing with you and I'm building on what you said. And that's not the reality. Yes is accepting that this is the reality. This is what's happening right now. And then is the bridge to what you can do about it, or what you can control in this instance. So part of this virtual team that I've been encouraging people to do is, if your kid comes running in and needs you, attend to your kid. If you're in an environment that's too volatile for you to control, there's noise in the background, show the person across from you they have your undivided attention, and let that person know that you are on point as a professional. Because at this point, we all need to be vulnerable enough to accept the things that we cannot control, and understanding enough, compassionate enough, empathetic enough, so that other people around us, when they need that support, and I am speaking as well about emotional support and mental support,
Yes.
you can be there for them, even if you're 20 miles away, 200 miles away, 2 doors away, and you just can't leave your house and go over there.
I think you've made a really, really good point about the emotional support. And I don't know if you picked up a podcast that I interviewed Martin last week, who's a leader in GSK. and he was saying that whilst there is work that needs doing, he spends a little bit at the beginning of each virtual meeting checking everybody's okay. And if
Yes.
necessary, he'll follow up with a one-to-one call. Because otherwise, people are not going to work to the best of their ability because they're worried about other things.
Mm-hmm. And everybody, I know that we're in I'm in the burbs of New York City, and we were talking about this before. That's epicenter for America. It's
Yes.
a really rough situation. And my executive assistant is in the middle of it. She's living in a very tiny apartment in Manhattan. And we do daily, if not multiple times a day, touch bases, check-ins, phone conversations. And that's needed. And it's not just with one person. All of us need it. We as leaders, if we have the ability, the capacity to help somebody, it's our obligation to reach out and do so.
Yeah.
And that help is not necessarily face to face and person to person. It could be over the phone. It could be like get on Zoom. I don't care if your hair's messy and you're wearing your robe. Let's get on. Let's talk to each other. Let's look at each other, because we are all in this together, and all of us need to pull together to get out of this.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And isn't that human conversation, hearing somebody else's voice, reassuring?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a basic human desire to be understood, or at least believe that somebody understands us.
Yes.
And that is universal. It transcends any race, ethnicity, gender, any type of adjective to describe it. It's just a human desire to be heard, to be listened to be understood.
Yeah. What has come up in my mind in the last few weeks, since we've been forced to work in a more virtual way, is that with technology, everything was being pushed forward and we were losing our human touch, with lots of automated systems in place. And now I think that people are realizing and recognizing that the human connection is equally important to a brilliant automated system as well.
I hope so. I mean, if they're not realizing it right now, they will.
Yes.
Everyone will realize it, because this new norm is the new norm.
Yes.
Meaning specifically, the state of Virginia here in America has our stay at home enforced until June 10th. So you can't think that New York, who's just getting beat up right now, is going to be opening its doors and saying, all right, now we're all good. This is going on for many more months.
It is.
So the focus on each other needs to be front and center. And if it's not hitting people yet, not hopefully the illness I'm talking about the realization that all we have is each other. It hopefully will hit people, and we can understand that the technology can be useful, and the convenience of things can be help our lives in one way or another. Yet without the person on your left, the person on your right, the person behind you, and the person in front of you, you're alone.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. So let's move swiftly on, because let's get my
this gets really serious.
I know, I was thinking
I'm an improviser. I make people laugh.
Neither of us are like that. Sorry, listeners, we're wallowing.
Well, here, let me tell you something else too. For anybody who's, trying to think about adapting their business, we've created a digital program, an asynchronous learning digital program called Improvisational Communication. And this is an off-the-shelf program. You pay some money, and then it's 4 hours long, broken up into 8 modules with 80 videos, each one being somewhere around 3-4 minutes, with a give and take, some longer ones with exercises, some shorter ones with direction. And it's very exercise driven. It's very experiential. The whole focus is communication, collaboration, and creativity for personal and professional development. And so if you don't want to take that, that's fine. What I would say is think of possibility and potential. Think of what you can do right now in your realm of control and how you can influence the people around you. And that's how we'll start to figure out how to get through this together.
Absolutely. And with this particular course, if you send me the link, I will make sure it's in the notes that accompany this.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, improvisational communication.
Brilliant. So I know that we always ask guests what their 3 top tips are for communication.
Yes.
Go on then.
Okay. All right. So as an improviser or impro, somebody who's focused on that art form for a quarter century, this is where I'm going to go.
Yeah.
The first is something that was given to me by my good friend Susan Messing when I was a very young pup in improv, just, very young, maybe a year into it or so. And she said, listen as if words are gold. Now, if you really focus on that, break it down. Listen as if words are gold. Words are gold. Now, if words are gold, you just don't give gold to everybody, right? You just don't go throwing around gold and you throw it out to just to win. You give it to specific people for specific reasons because gold is valuable. And if words are gold and somebody's giving you gold, you don't ignore it. You don't, get distracted by something else. When somebody's trying to hand you gold, you take the gold and you put it in a safe spot. And that's how we should look at words too. When people, especially as we're, talking about the current climate, someone's talking with us and saying something to us, value what they're saying. Give your undivided attention to it. Accept what they're saying. Take it in as if it's gold and absorb it, process it. So that's the first one. Words are gold. The second is be focused, be present in the moment at a very high level. Improvisation takes place in the moment. It's not what happened in the past. That's a story. And it's not what's going to happen in the future. That's a story. What we have is right here, right now. It's the people that we are with in that scene, in that moment that are the most important things. And that means it's focus, it's concentration, it's presence. It is showing that you are engaged in the moment. And yep, sometimes that's harder than others when the brain starts playing tricks with you, yet you have to make the decision, especially if there's a key engagement. You have to be on point in a meeting. You're giving a presentation, a webinar, whatever it might be, setting yourself up for success so that you are present and in the moment at a very high level. The third, and this relates back to what I was saying with the improvisational communication course and what we could do for ourselves right now, postpone judgment. Yeah. Defer judgment. It doesn't mean abandon judgment. It doesn't mean dismiss judgment. It means postpone it. Learn how to push off judgment so that on one side in divergent thinking, you're collecting ideas, you are valuing input from people, you're accepting what people are giving you at face value based on their terms. And then on the other side, in convergent thinking, you can put your critical thinking hat back on. You could sort the good ideas from the bad ideas and what will work in the budget and what will work in the timeline and what won't work in the current situation. However, what a lot of people do is judge while they're either creating or collaborating. And in doing so, you shut people down. You are teaching people around you not to bring you ideas, or at least you're increasing the probability of shutting people down and increasing the probability of teaching the people around you not to bring you good ideas. And so just the ability to postpone judgment, figure out how to push it off for a period of time to assess the situation, environment, gifts, offers, language, people at face value, and then move into the judgment can be very, very powerful.
Brilliant. Those are 3 excellent points. And I'm sure that the listeners are going to go away with an awful lot from this. But before we go, is there anything else that you would like to share with the listeners, as I say, the course, I will get the information and I'll share it with everybody. But anything else you'd like to share?
I really, really am grateful for you sharing the course, and hopefully people will thumb through it. And we're going to send you as well just a free handout that you can give to people of 7 steps to help your team become virtual. I hope that everyone out there just doesn't stop trying, stays focused, stays positive, find the little wins, find little wins throughout the day and celebrate those wins and celebrate the people around you in whatever capacity you can.
What a brilliant message to give to people. And I know that where you are, and particularly your assistant in central Manhattan, it's really, really challenging. So I particularly appreciate you giving and being so generous on this day.
It's my pleasure. It's my honor. I hope you stay safe. I hope all your listeners stay safe. Stay away from people. Stay indoors.
Yes.
Smile as much as you can.
Yeah, I know. And laugh like we have once or twice.
Yeah. If we lose that part of us, we lose some of our humanity, and we need to remember all that.
We do. Oh, thanks ever so much, Bob.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time, this is Susan from Superstar Communicator. You have been listening to the Superstar Communicator podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and review the podcast on iTunes and on apps. Please contact us if you want to discuss any topic, could suggest a topic for us to include, or a guest who could come onto the podcast. Go to superstarcommunicator.com.